Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 repeater. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airwaves with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. I'll pause here momentarily in case anybody needs to make an emergency contact or has some priority transmissions they need to do before our net gets underway. So I'll hold for a few seconds here. Hearing none. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. And so far we have checked in WW7N James, K7HYB Gary. Is there anybody else that would like to check in?
KD7QKU. And 7QO.
And we got KD7QK. You, Ron. And N7QO. Jim. So far on the net we have WU7N, K7HYB, KD7QKU Ron, N7QO. Is there anybody else? Okay, we'll get the net under the way here. Let's go to WU7N, James.
Okay, I'm going to try Echo Link here and see how all that works. I'm getting kind of a come-and-go image on video tonight. There's not a bit of wind outside, so I don't know what's causing that. I don't know if you're getting it. I noticed on your image I saw the same thing, Dave. So I'm not sure if anybody has any comments on what causes that. It's just kind of like the whole signal strength is kind of coming and going. So anyway, if anybody has comments on that, because it's not really a very good signal coming down from 1.2 tonight, and I don't know if there's any adjustment I can make here on that. So anyway, last time I asked and got lots of good ideas. I don't know if you can see it now. The image is coming and going so badly that I'm not even really got a usable image here. It's like a 2 or a 3 kind of coming and going. Almost as if it was a windy night or something going on up there on the mountaintop. Now I do see a little motion in my trees outside, so maybe it is the wind blowing the antenna around. But anyway, got to check consumer reports for this product. I think someone on the air recommended it. And so we'll see if that works on getting little scratches out of clear coat or not. So anyway, that's it for me this time around. This is James, WU7N. Let me turn it back to Net Control Dave. Take it away.
WU7N, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Yeah, I'm seeing that I'm making the image up on 434, but I'm getting nothing coming back on 1.2 gig. It's periodically it flashes a little bit, and that's about it. So for some reason, it's not returning the signal. So making that short, let's go to Gary, K7HYB. K7HYB. Gary, are you out there? now, let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, this is KD7QKU. Well, I never saw Gary. I saw Jim M7QO, but I never saw Gary. But I wasn't looking at the screen all the time. So my picture is just fine, and you guys, I see Dave fine, and James, I saw your picture just fine. I saw the new, whatever it was, little red bottle or something. It was a normal picture from you. So I think everything's fine. I think, let's see, your receive antenna. So let's see what's going on. Well, I just experienced something I hadn't experienced before. I'd taken my phone out, and my phone was so dead that it wouldn't respond to anything. It was just a black screen, and it kind of startled me. And I thought, oh my goodness, my phone must have conked out. And they're so expensive. It's the iPhone 8. I think it is. It's so expensive. I'm going all for Pete's sake. So anyway, I plugged it in, and sure enough, there was a little sliver of red. So it was so dead. And then I saw that I had a phone call and I had a text and everything else, and that it had, it was so dead it never heard it or sent me an alert. So anyway, I have it on the charger here, so it's getting all charged up now. But yeah, strange. I usually charge my phone every morning, and I guess I forgot to this morning. We went over to our son Mike and our daughter-in-law Stephanie in Auburn today, and we helped him box up and gather up a lot of stuff. He has a U-Haul truck coming, and they're moving it out to the shop out on the Keep Peninsula. So I guess we'll go out again in the morning and help him fill the truck full, and then away he'll go and unload it in the garage. So anyway, that's all I have for now. So back to net, KD7QKU. Oh, and good evening, Dave. Good evening, James. Good evening, Jim. And anyone else listening? KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, Ron. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Anybody else like to check into the net this evening? The Western Washington Amateur Television Society on the 08 machine. Hearing none, let's go to Jim, M7QO.
Thank you, Dave, M7QO. Well, hi, Dave. Hi, Jim. Hi, Ron. Don't know what to say about the signals. I see something on 1.2. Mine seems to be about like usual, and I can actually see an image of myself on the stream. Not a good image, but it's better than a silhouette. Huh? That's strange. Okay. Let's see. Jim, you asked something. Oh yeah, you asked about why the signals might be fading. I don't know. It seems to be okay where I am. Granted, I can't pick up myself all that well, but the three of you I saw okay on the 1.2. So, Dave, maybe your antenna got moved around again. I don't know. Maybe there's some squirrel climbing the mast and giving that thing a whack. I don't know. Have to investigate that. Jim, that new finish, yes, that's the product that I tried. It worked okay on my 1980s vintage car. Mine looked like that, except a bit different. The cap was like at the bottom of the container, kind of like some of those ketchup bottles that you set upside down. But so yours is probably newer. It's maybe a new and improved version of what I had, but it worked okay for me. Not great, mind you, but just curious if you made it over to Ron's to try out the buffer there. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, this is KD7ZYM. Yes, I'm not receiving too good of a picture coming back on 1.2 this evening. Really disruptive, although I'm seeing a fairly clear picture going up to the mountain on 434 as it comes streaming back. Well, let's see, it's very warm here in Lake City. I've got 82 degrees outside, and inside in the shack, oh my gosh, it's 82 degrees. And I just got done watching a little bit of hockey on network television. I thought maybe watching something in ice with hockey would cool me down, but it didn't. So it didn't have a psychological effect on me, which I thought it would. So anyway, interesting Stanley Cup playoffs. Today I went to let me clear my throat there a little bit. Sorry for that. Seattle ACS meeting this morning, and we talked about digital mobile radio. Very interesting on how it works around here. Sort of a combination between internet phasing and a radio, and then talk groups, and you can have two people talking at once in two different directions on one frequency at a repeater. It's pretty fascinating, some of the things that you can do with it. So anyway, we've got a little bit of briefing on that. It looks like for me that it takes quite some time to figure it all out and get all the codes that make the thing work. But you can talk all over the world, and you can talk across the state here in Washington, and locally there's probably about maybe 18 repeaters that are hooked up to the system here. So let's go up to James, WW7N.
Okay, thank you, Dave. And that's funny. I've not considered watching ice hockey as a way to cool down. That sounds like that might be a good thing to do. I had a neighbor actually give me a air conditioner that mounts in a sliding glass window. I've lived here since the early 90s and have gotten by without air conditioning, but my goodness, if we're getting up into the low 80s, and it's not even the second week of May, end of the second week of May, I think I'm going to probably need that, so I'm glad you gave that to me. Ron, I'm unclear. Did your cell phone die completely, or did it just lack charging? Because I'm convinced that these cell phone batteries just are not designed to last very long, and so changing out a cell phone battery is something I've managed to successfully do on an iPhone 5S. So something to consider. Maybe you could, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't listening carefully, but I was unclear. You said you got it somehow back to life, but I don't understand what the problem was on that. I'm kind of interested to know if it was that to test the proper play. Ron, I do need to make it your place because I got to get you to sign this form so I can get it in the mail, and that's something I'm just going to have to make time to do. Sometime, I guess, between noon Monday and noon Tuesday, maybe you can let me know what your schedule is, or we can talk on the phone later if you don't want to talk about it on the air. Because I do have to get you the signature and then get this to the ARRL so that I become the new trustee of the station. And I think that was the important stuff I had for this round. So wow, it's already 8:15. Let me turn it back to Net Control. This is James with Uniform 711 with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. And there's the ID right there. Well, the ID seems to be fairly solid. So how come when I go back to my picture, I'm just not getting a very good 1.2 loopback tonight? Maybe it's just not a good night. Back to you, Dave.
Okay, with that, James W7N, and I come back to Jim, N7QO. Actually, I was able to see about a P2 picture of you on the internet, so that was the first time I've seen a picture that I could really see with you. That's for your information on that round. But let's go to Ron, KD7, 2KU.
Okay, KD7ZYM in our group. This is KD7QKU. Well, James, no, my battery just went dead. I forgot to charge it this morning. I usually charge both my cell phone and the wife's cell phone every morning when I get up. But today I think I failed to do that. And I guess by tonight mine had just gone so dead it wouldn't even show a little red line. And after I plugged it into the charger, lo and behold, it came alive again. So it seems to be fine. And Dave, it's just amazing. You said that you had 82 degrees outside of your house. I have 70.3, and I have a little breeze over. It's nice and cool at my house. I definitely think the weather's changing. So I don't know, James, if you have a little breeze at your house, but I know there's a little front coming through or what it is. So anyway, yeah. So I got 70 degrees. Nice temperature. So let's see what else happened. I don't know. The only thing I said is that I went out there to Mike. We drove the new car out. It drives really nice. I decided that I like the air conditioner or the heating, the climate control, I guess it's called, on automatic. So you can manually do everything, but you put it on automatic and you set the temperature that you want, and it gets there pretty quick. It runs on high. Joanne didn't enjoy that. She doesn't like noise, and so when the air conditioner first came on to cool the car, when we got in it to come home, it was, probably 100 degrees in the car. And I had this climate control set at about 65. So after we've been in there a while, just about the time we got to 167, I bumped hers up to about 69 degrees or 70. And I bumped mine up to about 67 degrees. And by then the car had cooled down inside and then the fan dropped down to a more acceptable level and wasn't making so much noise. And then while I was waiting in the car, Joanne wanted to get some flowers to help with Stephanie for Mother's Day. I was playing with the Sirius radio and I found this, I guess I would call it old country music station, and they played a lot of old songs. I always say it sounds like they're holding their nose when they sing. So anyway, I enjoyed that all the way out there. I'm not sure she did, but I enjoyed it. All right, I haven't seen any sign of Lee, so he must be out and about tonight. So he's not on the internet or Skype. So anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, and Dave was talking about ACS. Let me let her know. Maybe I'd already timed it out. I just can't seem to get interested in that, digital stuff at all. Just like Echolink, you can talk on Echolink all over the world. Anybody that's on, you can talk to them. So I don't know. People up north, they seem to be kind of involved in all that too. All of the emergency communication groups, but it just seems to me like they're beating a dead horse because if you lose power, all that stuff won't work. You need mobile units to run off the battery. All right, back to that, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, Ron, this is KD7ZYM. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's move on to Jim, M7QO.
Thank you, Dave. M7QO. Yeah, I don't know about all that digital stuff either. No shortage of things on which to spend money, and probably if I were more involved with emergency services, I would participate in that and purchase some new equipment. But I think I'll just go with what I've got. It seems to do the trick for me so far for everything that I want. Yeah, one could definitely talk around the world with Echolink, or even just having the repeaters linked together through the internet. Every now and then there was one here to which I would listen, but thinking about it, I haven't heard it for several months. So don't know what's happening there. Don't know a whole lot of anything else about the digital stuff. I know that there are several different kinds of digital systems out there, and I'm not sure of the compatibility between all of the systems. Just like some of the HF digital modes, they're not necessarily compatible with each other. Kind of like switching from one version of Windows to another version of Windows, and the software package which you have no longer works. Or for that matter, my wife and I experienced that with Skype as well. If we're not on the same version, it doesn't always work. But don't know. Maybe we should try digital television one of these days. Another something on which to spend money. But say la vie. 87 ZYM and 7QO.
M7QO, this is KD7ZYM again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the O-wave repeater. Yes, digital modes are kind of interesting. Some of the members at ACS have 4 different radios with 4 different digital transmitting protocols. So, I don't know, it's just overwhelmed with technology. I think probably get something down to about 5 or 6 different channels where you can service the area. And you know you have clear frequencies and repeaters that are working fairly well. So, I don't know, I think that's the bottom line of making it work. It's too easy when you're relying on computers to do things where your power goes down, or your computer goes down, you're kind of SOL, as they say. Well, it's great seeing the signals at least getting back up to the transmission site on Cougar Mountain. And picture is a little bit rough. I've been disconnected twice now from YouTube, and I've had to restart the computer up with that, speaking of computers and communication. And so it's still not in full-time mode. It's you get a picture snapshot about every 5 to 6 seconds, and the picture moves and freezes up. So I don't know what's going on tonight. That's about what I've got to say here. And let's see. Well, I made a conversion this last week over from an Android phone to an iPhone, and that was kind of an interesting experience. It's kind of like waking up being Rip Van Winkle when you have a old telephone that's about 7 years old, and you can find out all the things that happen over on the iPhone. It's been a real waking up. Really fantastic things have taken part in the last 7 years compared to the phone I have. And I would imagine the other system probably works as well as the iPhones that are on the market, the Android system. But anyway, with the new machine and getting that all online was a little bit of a headache, but I think I'm up and running totally now. So experience happens. I did find out I'm with my carrier is Virgin America, in which unfortunately they don't have an office everywhere that you can take your phone in if you have a question with something. So it's all from a do-it-yourself perspective between using the internet and then making a couple of phone calls for help, as they say. And but it's up and working. So with that, I'm going to move it up to James, WU7N.
All right, I think I'm transmitting here. Okay, I hear my feedback loop here. And got an ID. And let's get a video signal up. Yeah, I too had a similar experience with my phone, I was really on an ancient Captain Kirk Clam type phone. And my niece got me the iPhone 5S, and it was a whole different experience. But yeah, I had that same kind of waking up after many years. But that phone was so old, there were people taking pictures of it at one public service amateur radio group I go to. They also got a laugh out of me using a stethoscope on a battery to see if it was charging or not. So anyway, technology does move on. The thing about land mobile radio integration to the internet, agencies are handing their police officers these literally $1,500 radios. And the reason you have to charge that much is because you're not selling millions of iPhones or Android phones. The market's relatively small, and they have to recover their costs. But if you, I saw Verizon marketing a product where with a specialized cable you could hook a land mobile radio into a little magic box that used cellular services, that went in virtual private network out to all these phones, iPhones or Androids or whatever, and then they had apps to make those phones act like a $1,500 police radio. Only they're not. They're a phone that the police officer or fireman owns already. Can you imagine the cost savings of that? So I think that's coming one way or the other. And when the internet air quote goes down, I had to remind someone of this the other day, that the internet never really goes down. The internet is a collection of computers. But that doesn't mean everybody else has. And with these complex land mobile radio systems, like Bellevue that happened with the Nisqually earthquake, the 800 megahertz system fell flat on its face far harder than the internet did. The internet actually came back faster in the affected areas than that 800 megahertz system. So I still have a feedback here, so I guess I haven't timed out quite yet. Let's see, Ron, thank you. I'm glad to hear it was just charging your battery. That's good news. And perhaps with that, I will turn it back to Net Control. Dave, this is WW7N with Uniform 7 November. And let me turn it back to you.
WU7N, 87DYM. Let's move down to Ron, 87QKU.
Okay, this is KD7QKU again. Well, before I forget, James, I think I'll be around on Monday and Tuesday. You better call first. Mike is moving, and he's out at Auburn House, and I may go out and help him. I don't know if he needs some more help. We're going to go out tomorrow, and we'll see what happens for this week. I told him I would be available. Not Tuesday night. We have a baseball game, I think. And Thursday, my wife is having a luncheon here. The lady she graduated with from Kent, I guess it's Kent Meridian High School. About, 25 or 30 of them kind of get together for lunch every month. And this month she's going to host the lunch. And Richard K7ITX said he was out at Mason Lake, and he was listening to us on his scanner, and he reported that it was 64 degrees, and it said it felt like it was 62. And he was sorry that he didn't bring his, he said 50-watt Kenwood, or he'd have tried to check in. So hi, Richard. Hope you and Debbie are having fun. And Dave, yeah, I'm down to 68.9 here now, so definitely cooling down this evening. You must be in the banana belt up there in Lake City. So what else was I going to say? It'd be interesting to see if I have a scratch on the door of my pickup. It's in the clear coat. I bought something, and the guy helped me bring it out on a hand truck. And when we picked it up to set it in the back of the pickup, wouldn't you know, the hand truck went rolling away, and it hit my door, driver's door, and put a little scratch in it. But it didn't go through the color coat; it just went through the clear coat. So, James, when you get that stuff, if it works, maybe I can borrow enough to do it. A scratch that's about that long, probably 3 inches long, and see if it works on my clear coat. So anyway, And it kind of sounds like maybe the scratches that you had on your car didn't go through the color. And if they didn't, that's really good, because it'll probably fix the stuff you're buying. I saw one time that they advertised a little pen, looked like a ballpoint pen, and you could just go down the scratch with whatever was in the little ballpoint pen, and the scratch disappeared. So I haven't seen that on the market anyplace else, but I saw it on TV. So let's see what else. I think that's about it. So let's go back to I'm looking at the computer. Oh, I know, I was going to say one more thing. I think, that they should have went with like IRLP or something, because you could use your handheld to get into the IRLP repeater, and then it was hooked up, through a computer, and it would go all over too. And if the repeater or the computer didn't work, then you could still talk simply to your neighbors, 5 watts. We could probably talk to quite a few people. So I don't think these digital little radios they only put out, I think, 200 or 300 milliwatts, I don't think they would talk to each other. And I think that's bad news. Okay, KD7, KD7ZYM, KD7QKU. I guess I was going to say clear, but I guess back to that.
KD7QKU, this is KD7ZYM. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Ron, I seem to remember seeing that device, that pen-like device to which you are referring. I have never tried one of those. I think they call it a scratch eraser. I don't know anyone who tried it, but sounds like a novel idea. I'm sure there are probably half a dozen similar products out there, similar to that new finish which Jim got and I tried, and I guess you just have to try what works rather than painting the whole thing. Rubbing compound certainly works, but it's a whole lot of effort, and I'm not sufficiently talented to get it so that it's perfectly smooth and without swirls on it. I had a couple of friends who could do that, but they are more talented than I. Let's see. Dick, good evening. Good to see you out there. Sounds like you've got an absolutely beautiful evening. Here in Covington, about an hour and a half ago, I had 80 degrees on the outside temperature. The temperature has been falling rapidly. Right now I'm showing 69 degrees outside. It seemed to me there was no significant wind. I did not notice any when walking out to the shack. So, beautiful night here as well. Probably about getting to the point where you need to put on a jacket just to sit outside. I guess it depends on how much you like the coolness. My wife and I don't seem to accommodate that very well. Seems like as we're getting older, it's more important to stay warm, but that's the way it goes. K7ZYM and 7QO.
N7QO, KD7ZYM, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Anybody else like to join us on the 08 repeater? Hearing none. Well, getting back to James' scratch remover, WW7N. The Mini Cooper place is about 2 blocks from my house where they detail used Mini Coopers for resale. And they have a group that comes in that really does a neat job. They use sometimes a little bit of spray paint, but on scratches, I've seen them, they've got a little bottle that looks like fingernail polish. And and then they use a little tiny brush, and it's like, 2 or 3 hairs thick, and they sit there and they dab that to fill in the scratch area. Then they heat it up and dry the area up. Then they use a rubbing compound that kind of smears between that new fresh applied paint, and it seems to dissolve some of the paint surrounding the scratch when they use their rubbing compound, and that smears it pretty well together. Then they dry it off again and buff it. But they have a very good hand knowing what they're doing, and very steady, so the paint doesn't go scattering every direction. Anyway, that's from here in Lake City. So we'll go up to James, WU7N.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate, as always, everyone's comments. The clear coat pen, I actually saw that demonstrated on a YouTube video. If we're talking about the same thing, it almost looks like a superfine Marks-a-Lot pen. It actually looks like what they had designed there. And I found that was interesting in that, even once again, the marketing department, I think, is selling a lot of those pens, but I'm not sure people are getting what they expect, because this guy who's doing this video is definitely like the people Dave were referring to at the auto detailing shop. He really knew what he was doing, and you do things like mask off the scratch and put buff it with very, very fine sandpaper, and then instead of the little 3-tip, the 3 hair brush, you use this little pen, let it dry, and then do just exactly what Dave said. You kind of blend it in, and so the whole point of getting the clear coat once again smooth is the light doesn't refract anymore. So if there is a scratch there, it kind of goes away because you just don't see it. It's not that the scratch isn't there. The other thing I definitely learned from this acquisition I have, it's a blue car, and my goodness, I never realized just how rough and resilient a white car is. I owned a white truck before I owned my white Camry, and that white Camry in particular just got the daylight speed out of it in the Bellevue College parking lot, and really doesn't show it. I mean, you can wash and wax it. Wax also hides a lot of clear coat scratches because it does the same thing. It just causes the light not to refract. And you just don't see it. So I can see that this little blue car is going to be quite a challenge to keep looking nice and looking new. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. Anyway, that's I appreciate everybody's thoughts and ideas on this. Got to get going on this. Now the weather is hot weather is here, but yes, the weather is definitely cooling. And I looked at the forecast, and it is amazing how fast it changes, isn't it? We're supposed to go to increasing clouds tonight, and then decreasing. Let's see, increasing clouds tonight, and then decreasing. Let's see, there it is. Decreasing clouds, increasing clouds. But then what's interesting to me is just how fast the weather. I don't know if you can see that on that. I moved that picture so that I can't read that. But the temperature goes down to 52 tonight. So yeah, it is cooling off out there really rapidly, and then only supposed to go to 73 tomorrow, about 10 degrees lower. With the next
timeout.
WU7N, you timed out.
This is WU7N. Hello, Johnny.
WU7N, you timed out. I don't know if it was the local repeater or the internet.
Okay, well, I don't know how much the There's nothing quite like that feeling of talking away and you don't know if anybody's hearing you or not. Anyway, this is WU7N. Back to you.
Connected, WU7N.
I experienced that all my life. You know, you're talking, but nobody's listening. Oh, well, it's probably just me. Let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Oh, Ron again, KD7QKU. Well, that's the only thing I have to report is the weather. 67.6 now, Dave. So, yeah. And look out the window. I guess the wind died down. I think there must have been a little front went through or something. A little cold front went through. I haven't looked at my phone for a while to see if Richard hasn't sent me any more texts. I guess I didn't hear him. So, man, that campground where Richard's at over on Mason Lake, it was, the logging company that owned it. Can't say their name now. But anyway, it was a kind of a private campground. Oh my goodness, it's really nice. Paved roads, nice lake, dock. There was a dock at all the campsites that are on the water, and there was about I don't know, maybe a dozen, half a dozen. And they all had their own little individual dock and everything. It's Mason Lake. I've only seen that one end of it, so I don't know much about it, but that end looked nice. And there was, I think, trails to walk. It seemed like Debbie and Richard walked on some of the trails. A nice campground. They really had a nice campground for their employees and their employees' friends. So, let's see. My daughter-in-law was here, the one that had lung cancer. She had a treatment on Thursday, and she stopped by here and visited and had dinner, and then she went on home. She's not in total remission, but everything is shrinking. So she's, thrilled. At least it's not getting worse. And so sounds like she may be on that cancer treatment maybe the rest of her life. She was asking the doctors, I guess, the other day, if she wanted to go on vacation. She has to go in every 3 weeks for a treatment. She said if she wanted to go vacation, like they would like to go to Arizona in the winter and stay down there 3 or 4 months, she was wondering if she could, suspend the treatment for a while. They said no. They said that the people who had stopped the treatment and then started it up again, it wasn't effective. So the fact that it seems to be working really good on her, they said they didn't want to risk suspending it. So they said, sorry, but we think you should have it every 3 weeks. So maybe the rest of your life. So I don't know. She's 50 years old. She looks like she's just doing fine now. That's good. All right, let's go back to net and then hear what Jim has to say.
KD7QKU, KD7ZYM. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Well, I would bet that she could get that service somewhere down there in Arizona. I kind of doubt that Washington has a market on treatment, whatever it is that she's getting. Yeah, cancer, kind of a nasty thing. I've got a whole bunch of friends who've had cancer, friends who've died with cancer. Boy, I've got just a couple days ago, another friend of mine had a stroke. What happened, she was in a hospital, and they were trying to fuse a couple pieces of her neck together, and a screw broke loose and hit a blood vessel, and so the blood clotted like it's supposed to, but then the clot broke loose and lodged somewhere in her cerebellum. So she was not doing well for about 2 days or so, but then she seemed to be pulling out of it. I visited her, and they're planning to do the operation again, or maybe continue it, or do something different on Tuesday if the neurologist signs off on her. He explained that if you have a stroke in the cerebellum, usually the recovery is pretty quick. Well, I don't know about that, but it sure is frightening when it happens. And all of these cancers out there can be even more frightening. I've got a friend who's missing about a third of one lung. They cut it out. And another friend who's got down one kidney. Wow. But she should investigate. Reset. I would say she should investigate. There's bound to be something down there, and something which her insurance would cover, I would guess. It just requires a little bit of advanced planning and some research. So I'd encourage her, Ron. I know a lot of people like to go places depending upon the season. I've never been one of those who's been able to do that, but good for her. She should be able to do that, I would think. KD7ZYM and 7QO.
In 7QO, and this is KD7ZYM. Yeah, Ron, Mayo Clinic is right down in Phoenix, so I'm sure they probably have some type of facilities there that treats cancer, and I'm sure whatever medication she's on, that there might be a way to arrange to ship the medication down there to just have it applied in Phoenix if they wanted to go that area. Anyway, a lot of things can happen in medicine where they get cooperative and work back and forth. And also there's some of the headache things that happen with trying to deal with insurance and different hospitals and administrators of different systems. So anyway, that's what I've got to add. And it is cooling off out here. It's now outside, it's dropped down to 70. But inside the shack, it's a little warmer than that. So I'm going to move it on to James, WW7N.
Okay. We'll see if Echo Link can let me hang in here for a little longer this time. Well, I'm glad to hear your daughter's doing better. I found generally in the medical industry, anything's possible as long as you have lots of money. I agree with Dave. Mayo Clinic's right down there. It's not matter whether it's possible to do this or not. It's just whether they are going to administratively allow it. But I'm glad that the good news is, though, at least there's something that is working. I have a friend of mine who actually worked at an institute. It was on a federal grant, and what they're doing, all of the different kinds of cancers. And if you go to the Ever Helpful Internet, it says something like there's over 100 different kinds of abnormal cell growth that are generally classified as cancers. But I seem to recall him saying that he had something like 400 that were cataloged at this, and unfortunately they did run out of funding. He now does a different job because he was grant funded. It kind of makes you wonder if they put as much money into that kind of a project as they do on so many of the other things, if we wouldn't have this beat in a decade or two. Because I guess he was not only cataloging the physical specimens, but they were doing all sorts of DNA tests. Maybe it'll be 400 different kinds of shots, but that's... I'm glad to hear your daughter's doing okay. So I see it's 8:50. I don't know. I guess I should make this my 73 round. This is James, Whiskey Uniform 7 November, Northeast Bellevue. Listening on the 147.080, courtesy Echo Link, and my video signal is still got that weird fading in and out. I think we could be dealing with wind. Maybe it's windy up there on the top of the mountain tonight. So let me turn it back to you, Dave. This is WW7ATS.
WW7N, KD7ZYM here. Yes, I'm experiencing a blackout myself from the 1.2 gig transmitter. Definitely not receiving it down here in Lake City. Wednesday it came in fine, and I was getting like a P5 picture from it, so I went out and checked my antennas before the net, and they were all pointed in the right direction. So anyway, who knows? Let's go on down to Ron, KD7QKU.
87QKU again. Well, I have some wind over here, so like you say, it might be pretty windy up there, but the pictures are just coming in fine. And Jim is better than than he usually is. I can make him out pretty good. I'm sure you're right about the medication. I don't know if it's just tailored specifically for her or what. And I can't even remember much about it. But if they should be able to ship it down there. I was just thinking, they didn't go to Phoenix. They went to, oh crap, what's the river over there? Where the Brooklyn Bridge is. So anyway, I can't say what it is. But anyway, they kind of hung out in that area. They liked that really well. So anyway. Well, oh yeah, James talked about a dark-colored car. Yeah, when I was fixing cars, of course, the white car was one of the easiest to fix. Although there's lots of different colors of white. But a black car was one of the hardest colors to fix, a long time ago. So you had to blend them in and everything, and it seemed like you never exactly had the right mix on the black. You would think black would be easy, but it's fine when it's inside. You don't see it, but when you put it out in the sunlight, then you see everything. And blue and red, they oxidize. Used to the older cars would oxidize, and so you always had to have a tint, and you had to tint it. And the bad part about it was you would tint the spot, and it looked really good. And then a year later, the car had oxidized differently than the spot, and so then the spot would start showing up more and more and more and more. So, yeah, it was a losing battle in the old days. But now they've gone to completely different kinds of paint and clear coats and everything. And they don't seem to oxidize like they used to and stuff, and they seem to be able to match them really quite well. But, yeah, dark-colored things that get scratched, they really show up. Light-colored things. It's kind of why we like silver. We've kind of had silver pickup, silver car, and we sort of have a silver car now. And they don't seem to show any scratches. And they don't show the dirt quite as much as, mud-type splashes. Like when we were down at the beach, it would be dewy at night, so then the dust, the moisture would sort of run down the dust. Well, a white car would look filthy, but a little silver car, you don't see it quite so much. All right, well, 73s, everybody, it was fun net again, and it's always nice to hear from you. Sorry Lee wasn't with us, and Richard, you and Debbie have a good time over there at Mason Lake, and
KD7QKU, thanks for participating in the net this evening. Let's go on to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Well, I found that same thing about the colors of cars. The light colors seem to do better, and the darker ones not so much. My Jeep is silver, basically, or it's some shade of gray anyway. It doesn't seem to show the dirt all that much. There is an area on it where the clear coat or something is messed up pretty badly. I think maybe it was in an accident sometime before I got it. I bought the thing used in 1999, and it's been a good vehicle. Minor problems here and there. Pretty reliable. I'm kind of waiting for it to, for the industry to come out with some self-driving vehicle. I'm hoping that once I'm no longer able to drive myself, maybe I could get a car that will drive myself. But I'll keep my fingers crossed on that. Anyway, good night, everyone. Thank you for the pictures. Thank you for participating. And Dick, thanks for listening. Hope you have a good evening out there. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks for participating in the net this evening. Is there anything from Inline? So we wrap up the net for the evening.
87QKU. I did have one more thing to talk about, and then I kept forgetting. Our cat got sick. So she was throwing up for 2 or 3 days. And the last time she had a BM in her sandbox, it was pretty hard and constipated. So we assumed that that's what was wrong with her. So yesterday evening she was getting more and more listless, and the poor thing ate a little bit, and she threw up again. So it's about 5:30. So I said, "Oh shoot, we got to take her to the doctor. She's feeling pretty bad." So I called up, and wouldn't you know, they had just closed. But they're open 24 hours for emergency services. So there's an extra $52 charge if you come in. So anyway, we taken her over, and they x-rayed her, and they said, "Oh yeah, no, she's constipated." So they said they could give her an enema, and they could get her going again, and we could go home, and they'd call us in a couple hours. And so they called in a couple hours and said, "Oh yeah, no, everything came out fine, and she should be good." So we got her home, and she's still not feeling really great, but she's much better than she was. But she is becoming the $1 million cat again. We had a $1 million dog, and now we're having a $1 million cat. So I suppose as they get older and older, she's 10 years older now. We've had her about 10 years, and she's probably about 3 years old when we got her. So anyway, but hopefully she's going to recover and be well. For those of you that are pet lovers, I don't know that any of you guys are pet lovers. So anyway, that's it.
87QKU. Well, wish you luck with your little friend there, that things work out okay for her. But commend you on taking steps to get the issue corrected through a vet. And at this point, I'd like to close the net off. We'd like to thank the owners and the operators of the 08 machine, CTAC Repeater Group, for allowing us to use the 08 machine for a voice channel for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Nets held on Saturdays and Wednesdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, I'm signing off. 87CYN. Good evening all.